Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos and big news. So it has just been confirmed not too long ago that all the Premier League fixtures, all the EFL fixtures have all been postponed until April the 3rd, the earliest. So the Premier League is suspended at least for the next 2 weeks. This decision came, I think, this morning because don't forget, they had an emergency club meeting reflecting on, what happened to Mikel Arteta. So they have suspended the Premier League at least for the next couple of weeks. And this is very, very bad news to be quite honest with you. Not only that, they've suspended all the women's football, I think, until the April the 3rd. Also, too, the UEFA have made a decision and they've said all Champions League games next week and all Europa League games next week are also too suspended due to the coronavirus. But like I did say, didn't I? A lot of games across the globe have been postponed, due to the coronavirus. Obviously, a lot of games recently have been played behind closed doors. And like I did say, football is not the same without any fans. So some people just say, finish the season now. If the season was to be finished now, do you think Liverpool would still get the title? I think they'd probably, hand Liverpool the title because obviously, Liverpool can't be caught anyway. They are too far in front of 25 points ahead. And as it stands at the moment, they only need 2 wins from their 9 remaining games to clinch their first ever Premier League title. But yeah, it's been confirmed, and I had a feeling it was going to happen. The Premier League has been suspended at least until April the 3rd. So we were supposed to be playing Tottenham this weekend at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It was a 4:30 kickoff. Obviously, we had a bit of team news building up to the game and that, but obviously we know now it's not going to go on is the game due to this spread of the coronavirus. As you all know, like I mentioned, Italy's in lockdown with it. Obviously now Arsenal are in lockdown with it. What's happened to Mikel Arteta. So it's probably the right decision, to be fair, to end this season because, like a lot of people have said, public health is a lot more of a priority than football. But yeah, so I'll give you some news of what Solskjaer did say, building up to the game against Tottenham anywhere on Sunday. Obviously, he's come out as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and he's had a swipe at Jose Mourinho. And Solskjaer did say, he had to overhaul Manchester United, when he replaced Jose Mourinho back in December 2018. And he did come out, did Solskjaer, and he did say, look, there's a lot of things he did need to change. He needed to change the tactics, needed to change the players. Obviously, Solskjaer has recruited around 5 players since he came in and spent around £220 million. But analysing the vast majority of these players, they are Jose Mourinho's because Jose Mourinho endured 2.5 years at Manchester United and he spent in the excess of around 400 million, was it, on 11 players. So the vast majority of these players are Jose Mourinho's. It's a shame now, it's a shame that this game can't go ahead, obviously because obviously, Jose Mourinho yet again would have been reuniting with Manchester United, and Solskjaer, was looking to beat Tottenham for the third time as a manager because he's already beaten Tottenham already twice as a manager. We're beating them 2-1 earlier on in the season at Old Trafford. We're beating them 1-0 last season. And he's already beaten Jose Mourinho once as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. But if this game would have been I think, Manchester United probably, would have won the game because Tottenham are in a bad vein of form. I think they are sitting, eighth in the Premier League. We are sitting 4 points clear of them. Tottenham can't win anything in terms of silverware this season. They're out of the Champions League. They got knocked out by RP Leipzig. Obviously, Tottenham can't win the FA Cup because they're no longer in it. They got knocked out by Norwich. So they can't win anything in terms of silverware. Tottenham's ambition now, if the season is to resume, is to, finish either fourth or fifth so they can get qualification for the Champions League. Obviously, probably a lot of Tottenham fans have been demanding Jose Mourinho out. Obviously, at the first, he enjoyed a good start to his managerial career with Tottenham, but it seemed to have all gone downhill. And like I mentioned, Jose Mourinho now is finished at the top level as a manager. He's no longer a good manager anymore. You've got to credit him for what he's done in the past because he has got a good pedigree behind him and he's won around 25 major honours in his managerial career. But he has passed his sell-by date now as Jose Mourinho and he has got a contract with Tottenham until the end of the 2022-2023 season. But the way things are going, I'm very sceptical that he will see out his contract with Tottenham. It'd be interesting to see how he approaches the summer, Jose Mourinho, and that's if he is still Tottenham manager. But I do believe Tottenham did make a big mistake by getting rid of Mauricio Pochettino because he enjoyed 5 good years with Tottenham, did Mauricio Pochettino. Didn't win out in terms of silverware, but still did really, really well. Obviously did well, did pause on it earlier on in the season, and this is the main explanation why I had got sacked. But prior to that, Pochettino did really, really well, and there has been talks about him, making a return back to Tottenham, Mauricio Pochettino. But yeah, they made a mistake by getting rid of him. And don't forget, Tottenham have also got a lot of injuries anyway. Obviously, Steven Bergwijn came off injured last week in Tottenham's 1-1 draw with Burnley, was it? So he would have been a doubt for the game. Obviously, Tottenham have got Harry Kane out. He's been out with a hamstring injury as Harry Kane. Obviously, he's been out for 2 months, has he, with his hamstring injury. It did say that he had, returned back to training. And there's obviously, been a lot of rumours saying that Harry Kane could leave Tottenham this summer. Obviously, they've got Heung-min Son out. He's also another player out. He's broken his arm as Heung-min Son. They've also got Davinson Sanchez out. They've got Sissoko out. I think they've got Ben Davies out. So Tottenham, of course, have got a lot of injuries. And it's really having a bad effect on them. But, like I said, Jose Mourinho is just too tactically naive, like he was at Manchester United. And like I mentioned, Mourinho won the Europa League and the League Cup in his first season at Man United and he got a second place. But he just wasn't good enough because, again, I feel as though, from my own perception, we recommended Jose Mourinho win too late. But, yeah, this game against Tottenham anyway isn't going to be going ahead on Sunday, unfortunately, in that. But I said if it had gone ahead, I'd have been very convinced that Manchester United would have won it. Solskjaer did give us some team news, by the way. He did give his press conference for the Tottenham game after, the 5-0 win against Lask. He gave his press conference for the game. And he basically said, Wan-Bissaka would have been ready because obviously Wan-Bissaka didn't play against Lask. He didn't make the journey. So obviously, Williams was fulfilling his position against Lask. He did actually say he was unsure if Martial would have been available, so he probably would have been a doubt if the game was on because he came off with an injury in our 2-0 win against City. I think he made a collision with a goalpost, was it? Is he got an injury on his knee, Anthony Martial? But Martial has sustained quite a few injuries this season for Man United. And he also did say that he hasn't been in training. And Jesse Lingard also hasn't been in training. That obviously our long-term absentees are Marcus Rashford. He's out. Obviously we do know that Lee Grant is a long-term absentee. Rashford is out with a back injury. There was reports saying that, Rashford could be available for the Euros and Kane could be available for the Euros, but it's also been confirmed that England's friendlies have also been postponed due to this coronavirus and that. But Manchester United are in a good vein of form. We are unbeaten in our last 11 games in all competitions. This is our best vein of form. This is our best vein of form since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager when he won his first 8 games. In this 11-game unbeaten run, we have won 8, we have drawn 3, we have scored 29 goals, we've kept 9 clean sheets, so it's good that we've kept a lot of clean sheets recently, and we've only conceded 2 goals, so we are in a good vein of form, and we are sitting 5th in the Premier League. We are only 3 points behind Chelsea. And like I did say, if we can get qualification for the Champions League, then, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be given another season at Manchester United. We've got quite a few ambitions this season. One of those ambitions is the Europa League. And I think we have emerged as one of the favourites to win the Europa League. We are into the last 8 now, of course. But we are emerged as one of the favourites to win it. We won it back under Jose Mourinho. And it's another route to Champions League qualification. Plus, it's a chance for us getting some silverware on the board. Also, the FA Cup is a priority for us because that's a chance of us getting some silverware on the board and that. But probably more than likely, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be here next season because now he's into his 14th He's been in like 14, 15 months now at Manchester United. So he has been here over a year. And Solskjaer does know if he is to be given another season at the club, obviously he's going to relish his chance, but he knows that he'll have many expectations to exceed, and he's still got around 2 years left on his current contract at Manchester United as Solskjaer. Now, like I said with Tottenham, revert back to what I said about Tottenham. They've lost quite a few of their key players. Obviously, they lost Christian Eriksen back in January to Inter Milan after he endured 6 or 7 years with Tottenham. Obviously, Tottenham lost Danny Rose. He went on loan to Newcastle. Obviously, Tottenham lost Bale back in 2013. They lost Luka Modric. We recruited a few players from Tottenham back in the day. Don't forget we got Michael Carrick from them. We got Dimitar Berbatov from them. So Tottenham have had some good players up and down the generations. Mourinho recruited 2 players in January. They were his first 2 signings. He got Jedson Fernandez in from Benfica, and he got Steven Bergwijn in. Don't forget he scored on his debut against Manchester City, but like I mentioned, he's out now with injury at the moment. He's out with injury at the moment for Tottenham. But this game would have gone ahead. I'd have definitely predicted a Manchester United win because our record against elite opposition this season has been very, very good. We've registered like 17 points this season against the top 6 sides. We've registered 17 points. Solskjaer's beaten Pep Guardiola 3 times this season. He's become the first manager to do that. We've beaten City 3 times out of 4 games this season. Drew with Liverpool. He's beaten Tottenham twice as a manager. Beaten Chelsea 4 times as a manager. He's overcome Frank Lampard 3 times. Beaten PSG. So we've done really, really well against elite opposition. But, for the vast majority of this season, we just haven't really replicated that against lower opposition. So that's been my element of concern. But I've got to credit Solskjaer recently because, he showed a lot of tactical flexibility, which is very, very good. And I'll credit Solskjaer when he deserves to be credited, and I'll criticise Solskjaer when he deserves to be criticised in that. But reflecting on how good we've done recently, I think a lot of Man United fans' perceptions would have changed now on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. So, yeah. But like I mentioned, we had a really, really good win yesterday against Lask in the last 16 of the Europa League first leg. Obviously, it was weird because the game was played behind closed doors, so that means there was no spectators there. Around 900 Manchester United fans had purchased tickets, but obviously had been refunded. But yeah, it was played behind closed doors, and football is nothing without any atmosphere, But I've got to say, it was a very, very good performance by Manchester United. We are now into the last 8 of the competition because there's no way Lask are going to score 6 goals at Old Trafford. And, Solskjaer obviously has been making a lot of rotation because games have been coming up thick and fast for us now. But he made around 5 changes from the 2-0 win against Manchester City, did Solskjaer. 5 changes were made. I've got to say, the man of the match yesterday was Odin Ighalo, put a fantastic performance out. And Solskjaer's come out and, made an admission on Odin Ighalo after the 5-0 win against Lask. And he did say he could decide to make Odin Ighalo's transfer to Manchester United permanent this summer, reflecting on how good he's done. A lot of people were coming out saying that, he was a panic buy by Manchester United. But I've got to say, so far, Odin Ighalo has proven his confounded critics wrong. He's proved everybody wrong. And he's the vocal point now. And like I mentioned, he's a good cover-up to Marcus Rashford. Don't forget, he's a lifelong Manchester United supporter. He's been a United fan since he was a child as Odin Ighalo. But I've got to say, it was good business by the football club to get him in. We're paying a third of his wages. It's 6-month loan we've got him on at the moment, but we could decide to get him permanently, like Solskjaer said. And it was just, he put a very, very good performance out. He scored the first goal. That's 4 goals now in 3 starts for Odin Ighalo. Very, very good player. Bruno Fernandes had got the assist. He created a good 5 chances in the first half yesterday against Lask. He's been involved in a lot of our games since he's come in, Bruno Fernandes, and he is making the difference in the team. Very, very good goal it was from Odin Ighalo. Kicked it up a few times, hit the crossbar and went in. Well, it came off the underside of the crossbar, but very, very good finish. Obviously, Ighalo got an assist for Daniel James' second goal. That was Daniel James' first goal for Manchester United since August the 31st. Took his goal very, very well, to be fair, did Daniel James. So that was 2-0 to Manchester United. And then obviously, the third goal came from Juan Mata. Lovely assist by Fred, played a lovely incisive pass. Juan Mata finishing that was 3-0. And Mason Greenwood and Pereira came off the bench to score the other two goals. Greenwood's goal was very, very good. Good to see him get his name on the score sheet. He didn't start, Mason Greenwood. He seldom starts in the Premier League, but in the cup games and that, he seems to get a lot of starts, does Mason Greenwood, and he's the upcoming future for Manchester United, and I do believe he can emulate to Rashford's level can Mason Greenwood. He's on what allowed 12 goals in all competitions so far this season. Like I mentioned, it was good to see Pereira come off the bench and score. Obviously, a lot of United fans have been critical of him, so have I. And I think he's one of the players that still needs to be moved on in the summer. But Pereira's goal was very, very good against Lask. So we did win the game by 5-0. And we also had a lot of other chances in the game. So we could have scored more than 5 goals. But Lask had a very, very poor team anyway. The only thing I know about them is that, they are top of the Austrian league by around 6 points. And they are on course to win their first Austrian title since 1965, which is around 55 years ago. But take into account, we've got a good record against Austrian sides in the European competition. We haven't lost against an Austrian side in any European competition and that. And we've only lost one now of our last 20 Europa League games in all competitions. So our record in the Europa League is very, very good. It was a big win against Lask. We beat Club Brugge in the previous round 5-0. Yeah, on the other hand, though, we did struggle in the first leg because we drew 1-1 in the first leg at the Jan Bredel Stadium against Club Brugge. But we are emerged as one of the favourites to win the Europa League in that. But like I mentioned, the Europa League is a priority for us. But obviously, it's good now for us that players are coming back from injury. Bay did really, really well yesterday. He's done well since he's come back from injury, to be fair. So I've got to give Eric Bay a lot of credit. He won a lot of duels. He made a lot of blocks. Maguire did really, really well yesterday. Williams had a good game at right back. McTominay and Fred also did well in our midfield. Like I said with Fernandes, he's enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. 3 goals, 4 assists now because he got an assist for Gallo's first yesterday. And he's making the difference in the team. And he's very instrumental. And Bruno Fernandes is the best player, or one of the best players we've recruited in since the Alex Ferguson era. And we've recruited over 30-odd players since, the Alex Ferguson era. So we've spent a hell of a lot of money in all the managerial eras since the Alex Ferguson era and that. But he's making the difference in the team, is Bruno Fernandes. By the way, Solskjaer has provided us with some news regarding Pogba during the press conference and that. I actually updated you about this on the video I did this morning. It took a while to upload before obviously it got announced that the Premier League matches were suspended at least until April the 3rd. Solskjaer has confirmed that Paul Pogba will remain at Manchester United next season because obviously, Paul Pogba revealed himself that he wants to stay at Manchester United. This is what he said, Paul Pogba. He wants to stay at Manchester United and he's interested in extending his contract. The main explanation for this is because he believes he can form a partnership with Bruno Fernandes in our midfield because he's aware of the impact that Bruno Fernandes is making and he's excited about the prospect of playing alongside him in our midfield is Paul Pogba. If Paul Pogba is to extend his contract at the football club, I think he's set to earn in the region of around 400 grand a week. He's got 2 years left on his current contract at the moment as Paul Pogba. There's 2 years left in his current contract. Well, it's a year, but Man United do have an option to extend it by a further year and that. So a lot of United fans will have different perceptions on Pogba. Some United fans would say keep him, and some United fans, would say get rid of Paul Pogba. This is what, some United fans, would say. Some people now do believe that we don't need Paul Pogba. Obviously, Solskjaer did confirm Pogba would return to full training next week. And he did say, Paul Pogba was stepping up his fitness regime. Pogba's only played 8 games this season for Manchester United due to his injuries. He hasn't played since Boxing Day and he hasn't started from the start since September. We do know since he rejoined from Juventus back in 2016, he has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. He was subject to a lot of transfer speculation this year. This year he's been subject to a lot of transfer speculation. Last year, he was subject to a lot of transfer speculation. Under Jose Mourinho era, he was subjected to a lot of transfer speculation was Paul Pogba. But Jose Mourinho had a lot of bad disputes with our top players, when he was here. And yeah, so with him committing his long-term future now at Man United, that will end his long-running transfer saga, because we do know he's being linked with the likes of Madrid. His preference was a move to Real Madrid last summer. We do know he's been a lot of talks about him going back to Juventus. Obviously, PSG have been in for him. Barcelona have been in for him in the past. But we quoted out, if we were to sell Paul Pogba, we would want minimum £150 million. We'd want in the £150 million range if we were to sell him, because obviously we'd want to get a lot more than what we paid for him, because we paid £89 million for Paul Pogba. But take into account, he is still a very imperative player. Now, I think we'll get the best out of him now that Bruno Fernandes, is here. We'll get the best out of Paul Pogba and that. So Solskjaer's confirmed he will remain at Manchester United for next season. So that's the news we've had on Paul Pogba. Like I mentioned, if this game against Tottenham would have gone on, maybe Solskjaer would have gone with the reverted back to the 4-2-3-1 formation. Maybe, well, actually, no, maybe he'd have gone with a 3-5-2. Because from my own perception, will look more expansive with that 3-5-2 formation. I think Solskjaer believes it's beneficial to go with that formation against the good sides, and maybe go with a 4-2-3-1 against lower opposition. Don't forget, he actually went with a 4-3-3 yesterday. We seldom go with a 4-3-3. I think Solskjaer went a lot with a 4-3-3 in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. So put that into the equation. But yeah, like I mentioned, we look more expansive with the 3-5-2 formation and that. I think, there's different ways how Man United could line up with Pogba and Bruno Fernandes in the starting 11. We'll obviously keep Fernandes in number 10. He's better freed up, is Bruno Fernandes, because you get the best out of him, and plus that's his predominant position. And I think we'd probably put Paul Pogba in like a number 8, because Paul Pogba can play can play in an expansive role, but he can also play as a deep holding midfielder. So I think we'd either put him alongside Fred and McTominay, and then you'd have Bruno Fernandes ahead of them playing, freed up, so he can obviously express himself and that. But there's different ways I would line up with Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba in the team and that. McTominay's done well since he's come back, like I mentioned, so that's very, very good to see. Obviously, De Gea would have been in goal for Tottenham if it had been going ahead, because obviously, Sergio Romero tends to play in the cup games and that. But yeah. So like I mentioned, obviously, we're making plans for the summer. There's quite a lot of players on our agenda who we could go in for. I've already given you the news on Jadon Sancho. I've given you the news on Harry Kane. I've given you the news on Jack Grealish, Jude Bellingham, because they are players that are on Manchester United's agenda. And Solskjaer did recently reveal that he believes we need around 3 to 4 signings this summer if we are to be title contenders, because we want to get back to winning the league. I think we need to win it within the next 3 years. We don't want to go 30 years without winning another title like it has done with Liverpool. Want to win it in the next few years. And who knows, Klopp might not be Liverpool in the next few years. Pep Guardiola probably won't beat Manchester City in the next few years. So obviously City and Liverpool are strides ahead of us at the moment, but it's going to take us time to emulate to their levels. But we get the right calibre players this summer. I honestly do believe we can challenge for the league going on into next season. But Solskjaer did reveal that he wants to get our transfer business done as soon as possible rather than wait until the summer. But there is still deficiencies in the squad that need to be addressed. We need a centre forward, we need a right winger, and I think we need a midfielder. This is what, Solskjaer wants to bring into the club in the summer. But like I mentioned, I credit him for the players he's brought in so far. He spent around £220 million. And I expect around 4 to 5 players to leave Man United in the summer. I think Jones will depart. I think Pereira and Lingard, they're 2 players that will go. Lingard's now lost his place in the team following the arrival of Bruno Fernandes. Gomez, he could stay at Manchester United. We could enter negotiations over getting him a new contract. Don't forget, earlier on this week, we give Chon a new contract at the football club. He signed a 2-year deal at Manchester United. We know now Matic is staying at the club. Matic has done really, really well recently, so I'll give Matic a lot of credit, even though he is a backup to Fred and McTominay, but he's done well recently. I think De Gea could possibly be moved on in the summer, because obviously, Dean Nenton's coming back to Manchester United after his loan spell with Sheffield United. Well, he said he's coming back. And the club made the right decision by putting Dean Henson out on loan because it has gained him more experience. So he could become our number one when he does come back to the football club and that. I've got to say Luke Shaw's impressed me a lot. A lot of players have improved under Solskjaer, but I've got to say Luke Shaw's impressed me a lot since he's come back from injury. He has received a lot of criticism as a Manchester United player from a lot of our fans and a lot of people in general reflect on his poor run of form and his record of injuries he's had. But since he's come back, he's done well because he was out with injury for like 2 months. Shaw scored his second goal for the football club in his whole career at the club last week against Derby in that 3-0 win. But I've got to credit Luke Shaw. He's done really, really well recently. Greenwood's done well this season. There's a few young players that are in their first seasons in the senior squad. Greenwood's in his first season in the senior squad. Brandon Williams is in his first season in the senior squad, and I think he's also done really, really well. He's predominantly a left back, but like I mentioned yesterday, he was playing at right back. Garner's played a couple of times this season. Tuan Zebe is now back. So I've got to credit Juan Mata as well. He has lost that yard of pace, but he's still going strong. Is Juan Mata, and a lot of United fans do believe we should play him more regular. I say he's a good backup to Bruno Fernandes is Juan Mata. But yeah, he had a great game yesterday. Juan Mata also scored a really, really good goal. Mata's now into his 6th season at Manchester United. Lindelof's really, really improved. Struggled in his first season, but I think last season did well. This season he's been a lot of aspects of his game that have improved, but I know he didn't play yesterday, Lindelof. Maguire's done really, really well. We paid £80 million for him from Leicester last summer. We overpaid for him, but he's done well as Harry Maguire, so I've got to give him a lot of credit. He has addressed our defensive deficiencies in that. So a lot of players have galvanised themselves under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And it seems now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got it right. He has definitely got it right. But we want to win the league because we haven't won the Premier League, like I mentioned, since 2013. And Manchester United are one of the biggest clubs in the world with a fantastic history, fantastic fan base. We are the most successful team in England, 20 titles, 13 of them Premier Leagues. One of the club's greatest achievements was back in 1999. Obviously, when we won the treble, that was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's most iconic moment as a player in that. I don't think Solskjaer will invoke Ferguson's legacy. Ferguson, don't forget, when we recommended him in, didn't win out in his first 4 years. But look what he went and accomplished when he didn't win out in his first 4 years. It was unbelievable. The vast majority of our silverware we won came under Ferguson. He endured 26, 27 years at Manchester United, did Alex Ferguson that. But like I mentioned, it does take some managers time to settle in. It is a transition period for us, by the way, and Solskjaer revealed at the beginning of the year he's hopeful that we can get through this transition period and that. But the longer Solskjaer remains in the job, the longer he's going to gain more experience as a manager because, like I mentioned, he is inexperienced as a manager and that. So yeah, Tottenham Manchester United is not on this weekend. The Premier League's been suspended at least until April the 3rd. Like I said on my video earlier on today, I hope all the best for Mikel Arteta. I hope all the best for him. Obviously, like it confirmed yesterday, Arsenal confirmed it from their website on the statement that Mikel Arteta got tested positive for coronavirus, COVID-19. He has been tested positive for coronavirus as Mikel Arteta in that, so maybe now Arsenal's 10 remaining fixtures will all be cancelled. Definitely their game against Brighton this weekend has been postponed due to this. And it's public health, end of the day. It's more of a priority than football, but I do wish the best for Mikel Arteta. I really, really do. Obviously, due to this, Arteta's had to self-isolate himself. Arsenal's entire first team squad have had to self-isolate themselves, and so too some of the coaching staff. They've had to self-isolate themselves, who've obviously been in contact with Mikel Arteta. Also, Arsenal's training ground has been closed due to this and that. But yeah, he has been tested positive for coronavirus as Mikel Arteta. But he says as soon as he gets better and when he's allowed, he will be straight back into work immediately in that. But now, he will be quarantined, will Mikel Arteta. But like I mentioned, I do hope all the best for him. But this is very, very serious, and I think even you'll get a lot of Tottenham fans that'll hope all the best for him because rivalry comes out of the window, when stuff like this happens. It really, really does. And this virus is really, really serious. It's killing thousands and thousands of people. You've got, like I mentioned, you've got Italy in lockdown. You've got Arsenal now in lockdown. It's disappointing having no football for at least the next couple of weeks, but you know, safety comes first before football, you know, like I currently mentioned in that. But yeah. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update today. Drop your comments, likes, below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.